Thank you for viewing this presentation from the Tennessee Department of Revenue. This presentation is on sales tax exemption for industrial machinery. The laws and rules regarding industrial machinery exemption can be found in Tennessee Code Annotated Section 67-6-102 and 67-6-206. These sections explain the exemptions for industrial machinery used by qualified manufacturers. Tennessee Code Annotated Section 67-6-206, as well as Rule Number 1320-05-01-.40, explains the exemption for industrial materials and supplies and industrial energy, fuels, and water. Finally, Tennessee Code Annotated Section 67-6-102 and 67-6-206 explain other industrial machinery exemptions. Generally, a qualified manufacturer for the purpose of this exemption is a manufacturer whose principal or more than 50% of its business activity at a given location is from fabricating or processing tangible personal property for resale and consumption off the premises. An exception to this is a person whose principal business activity at a given location is the preparation of food for immediate retail sale, and these sales do not qualify. Industrial machinery itself is defined as machinery, apparatus, and equipment with all associated parts, appurtenances, and accessories, including hydraulic fluids, lubricating oils, and greases necessary for the operation and maintenance that is necessary to and primarily for the fabrication or processing of tangible personal property for resale and consumption off the premises. To qualify for the industrial machinery exemption, a person must be a qualified manufacturer. The item must be machinery, an apparatus, or equipment. The item must be necessary to the fabricating or processing of the product sold, and the item must be primarily for the fabrication of the product sold. Here you can see a listing of the machinery that can be exempt for this purpose. Notice that all the machinery listed here is specific for the manufacturing process. This would include equipment used for pollution control facilities as well, machinery used to package manufacturing items, as well as repair parts and repair and installation labor for the industrial machinery. There are certain items that are not exempt. This includes equipment primarily used prior to transport of raw materials to process, as well as equipment primarily used after transportation of finished goods to storage. Equipment used primarily for the storage or distribution of specified digital products after conversion. Equipment used for the convenience or comfort of workers. Equipment used in the preparation of food for immediate retail sale, as well as equipment used for maintenance. All of these items are not exempt for the purposes of industrial machinery. Once the application is approved, a qualified manufacturer may purchase all forms of energy fuels used in any manner at a given manufacturing location at a reduced 1.5% state tax rate. This would include electricity, natural gas, coal, firewood, fuel oil, and propane and butane gases. Please note that these energy fuels are not subject to a local option tax. There are certain energy fuels that are fully exempt from sales tax for qualified manufacturers. These include any energy fuel that comes in direct contact with the product during manufacturing, is expended during the contact, and is metered separately. Natural gas used to generate heat to produce primary aluminum, aluminum sheet, and foil. Electricity used to generate radiant heat for the production of heat-treated glass, as well as any energy fuel that is produced by a manufacturer from its own facilities. Qualified manufacturers may purchase water also, used in any manner at a given manufacturing location, at a reduced rate of 1% for the state tax and 0.5% for the local sales tax rate. Any water that comes in direct contact with the product during manufacturing is expended during the contact and metered separately can be fully exempt. Any water that becomes an ingredient or a component of the manufactured product is also exempt, as well as water that is produced or extracted by a manufacturer from its own facilities or in the public domain. Water wetting product during the manufacturing process that is separately metered is also tax exempt. Regarding industrial materials and supplies, materials for future processing, manufacturing, or conversion into articles of tangible personal property for resale are exempt. They must become a component part of the finished product or be used directly in fabricating. Materials and supplies coming into direct contact with the product that are rapidly consumed in processing or manufacturing of the finished product. Please note that once removed from inventory, the supplies for these items must be totally used or consumed within 25 days to qualify for the exemption. These items may be purchased tax exempt with a resale certificate. An industrial machinery exemption certificate is not required. There are other industrial machinery exemptions that are included in the law and are not subject to a 51% test. These include machinery used in the fabrication of trusses, window units, or door units for resale as part of principal business of the sale of building supplies. Also, machinery and equipment necessary to and primarily for remanufacturing industrial machinery when used by one whose principal business is remanufacturing industrial machinery. Machinery used in the pre-press and press operations in the business of printing. Machinery and equipment with all associated parts and accessories, repair parts, repair and installation labor that is necessary to and primarily for mining, as well as machinery for fabrication of asphalt or crushed stone to be used by the contractors in roads funded by tax revenues, and also county or municipality contractors for water pollution control or sewage systems. In order to apply for the industrial machinery exemption, businesses must have a sales tax account with a location ID for each manufacturing location. A separate application must be submitted for each manufacturing location. Please complete the application entirely and submit all information requested, including a list of the machinery and the equipment to be used, along with a description of that use. Contractors may receive this exemption as well. They may purchase or provide and install machinery, parts, accessories, including hydraulic fluids, lubricating oils, and greases for maintenance that is necessary to and primarily used for fabricating or processing of tangible personal property at a qualified manufacturer's facility. Contractors must submit a separate industrial machinery application for each contracted job with a manufacturer. The industrial machinery exemption certificate issued to the contractor is valid only for a specific manufacturer's facility location and will include a beginning and an end date for the job. In order to locate the application, please visit www.tn.gov/revenue, click on Tax Resources, then Forms, then Tax-Specific Forms, and Sales and Use Tax, and you will find the application for industrial machinery exemption. Once the exemption is issued, a certificate is available for the exempt entity. The exempt entity must provide the vendor with either a copy of the certificate or a fully completed streamlined sales tax certificate of exemption, which will include the industrial machinery exemption authorization number included on the certificate issued by the Department of Revenue. These certificates are issued by mail and on the TIN-TAP system upon application approval. The exemption authorization must be obtained prior to making tax-exempt purchases. However, there is a retroactive authority for the industrial machinery exemption that may be granted when failure to obtain the authority prior to making a purchase resulted from key events such as major restructuring of the business or a change in ownership, the death of a key person in an organization's tax area, the entity being misled by state officials, which indicated the authority to purchase industrial machinery was not required, as well as any other grounds that the Commissioner finds satisfactory to allow retroactive application of exemption. To claim a refund or a credit for tax paid for purchases of qualifying industrial machinery, use the procedure indicated here. This includes requesting a refund from the vendor and providing the vendor with a certificate of exemption. The vendor would then file a refund claim within 3 years from December 31st of the year in which the tax was remitted to the department. The vendor must provide a copy of the purchaser's certificate of exemption with the claim for refund, and the vendor must refund or issue a credit memo for the collected tax to the purchaser and submit such documentation showing the purchaser received the credit or the refund for the tax paid. Thank you for viewing this presentation from the Tennessee Department of Revenue.